Welcome back to Generation Gap, the show where we put the generations together to discuss the world's most pressing topics. Before the break, we discussed the topic of education and how it has changed throughout the generations. Now we're going to be answering the following question about mental health.
When you get a knock on the door, there's 4 or 5 policemen outside, and you know it's not good news. The thought that went through my head then was, please tell me he's in a car accident. Tell me he's in a car accident. He's broken his leg, he's broken his arm or something, but he's okay. But they don't tell you that, and they tell you, a young boy's died of suicide and it's Reese.
Okay, so the question we're going to be asking is mental health prominent in today's society? So we'll start off with the younger generation. Do you think everybody experiences mental health, or do you think it's a thing that only certain individuals experience?
I think that everyone experiences mental health problems because, we have so many factors that it's like unbelievable. Number one, obviously social media. So you can't say, oh, I'm not depressed or something, but I do have like anxiety with followers, likes, stuff like that. Social media is like a big factor. I don't know what else to say about it really, but
but the thing I think about mental health in this day and age is that not many people know that the people who think they don't have mental health problems actually might have them. The reason why I say that is because mental health, there's not a lot of people like to speak out to therapists and stuff and say to see if they've got a problem and stuff, and some people are unaware of the problem that they might have mental health issues. So I think everyone in this world, in my opinion, has had a mental health issue. Whether it's minor, whether it's severe, everyone gets a bit of anxiety now and then. Whether it's you've got a job interview coming up, whether you've got that exam.
That was my point. Yeah, exactly. That was my point.
Everyone experiences it, but obviously the stuff that is more known is the people who suffer with it severely. I think everyone.
And I just wanted to add that I think that nowadays everything is labelled. Like everything is like, for example, back in their days, if a kid was hyperactive and they wouldn't sit down, they were just a hyper child. Now it's ADHD, stuff like that. Just minor stuff that are being labelled. Maybe that might have had a toll. What's happening nowadays?
So it's the same question to you guys. Do you think that mental health, everyone experiences mental health, or do you think that it's just in some certain individuals?
I think there's a massive over-generalisation of what mental health is now. And to pick up on Anwar's point, actually, he's fairly right, that people are being too categorised, too over-medicated, to being able to use these identifiers as crutches, almost to the point of having excuses not to be able to do things.
Definitely.
Because you guys mentioned earlier about the job interview with anxiety. Don't you think that's just quite a normal thing that people, that happens to kind of everyone? Do you think we should be putting the mental health label on that? Or do you think it's just something that everyone experiences?
I think anxiety and stress is in part is actually quite good for us. We would not be able to survive as a human species if we did not have the ability to produce adrenaline and cortisol. So we need those things in order to have like our fight, flight or freeze responses. So the whole reason that we've been able to survive, and if we start to demonise those things now, then I think it's a huge step backwards in actually what we are capable of doing.
So what do you think the number one cause is for the rise in mental health? Or do you think there is a cause? Do you think it's just people like celebrities, for example, saying that they have mental health or whatever to try and maybe sell an album or something like that? Do you think that a lot of celebrities are doing that so then it causes publicity for them and then people then kind of diagnose themselves with it?
I think it nowadays, whereas when I was growing up, I didn't hear a lot of my friends saying, oh, I've got depression or I've got this. It wasn't a thing of when I was in school, whereas now I think there's a lot more labelling to everything, as you've said, that everything's got a label to it. And I think because everything's got a label to it, and especially with Google, that's when self-diagnosis starts happening, like, oh, I've read this online, and because of this, I've got this, without going to the doctors or going to the profession. So I think that might add to the rise of like mental health now, I personally feel.
Okay, so we're going to run a quick VT, and this will explain a little bit more about mental health.
You could just go home and then just turn on a console and boom.
Okay, so one of the main topics there was gaming and online abuse. We mentioned social media earlier. Do you think social media is the reason why people are suffering so badly with mental health nowadays?
Well, for me to answer this question, as an aspiring actor and done my fair bit of stuff in the industry,
Yeah.
with my social media, for example, I get people, like haters, for example, as they call them now, messaging me saying, oh, you did rubbish in this, or you did bad in that. But it's how you deal with them, I would say, would cause the mental health problem. Is if you have anxiety, for example, and you allow that to play on your mind, it's obviously going to become a bigger problem. You imagine it as this like big tomato tree that grows and grows and grows into this massive thing. So I really think it's more about how you deal with the social media.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just how, see, the brain's a very powerful thing. It can make you feel happy, it can make you feel sad, but yeah, if you know how to control it, then you're good. Like, it's just words. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you shouldn't let this stuff affect you. But some people have it different, and I completely understand. And you know, that's for them to deal with the doctors or whatever makes them feel good. Though.
Do you think if people do get kind of nasty comments, do you think that they should just kind of get a tougher skin and kind of get on with it, and not necessarily realise or recognise what those people are saying in the first place, because it doesn't really matter because it's just online? Do you think that they do need to get a tougher skin?
I don't think this is something we ever really dealt with
No,
back in our day.
we had only
Um,
MySpace, so
But, and that barely came into when we come, I think, I must have been about 14,
yeah,
30.
roughly that, yeah.
So we're going back, MySpace doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just not something, you know, it's very easy to sit there and say, actually, why don't you just put your phone down,
Yeah.
go outside, get some air, step away from it all. The more power you give to people in reacting to their comments and things that they're saying, you're the one making it important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Instagram removed likes recently, but there was that thing when it came out where it says liked by others, liked by hundreds of others, liked by thousands of others. Do you think that helped mental health at all, or helped the negative things that people feel inside when they post something? Or do you think it just made it even worse because now it has the words next to it instead of the numbers?
Nah, I don't think that it's. You see, Instagram are acting like the whole world is focused on them. There is Twitter, there's Snapchat, but I personally don't use it. Or maybe I'm not over there. Facebook,
Yeah.
but
We can tell
yeah,
by
nah,
age.
Instagram. I think it was useless because if someone's not caring about the likes that they have on their Instagram, they're caring about how many retweets they have on their next tweet or how many viewers they have on their Snapchat.
think it's
So
just
this
like
is a
a-
problem that's not going to be solved.
Yeah, it's just a spiraling thing. Okay, we're going to pull up a quick news article on the screen about someone who did suffer with mental health. As you can see here, Tyson Fury opens up about experiencing suicidal thoughts. Now, when I think of Tyson Fury, I usually think of him in the boxing ring or at the press conferences that he does and things like that. Do you think, and we'll go with the younger generation first, do you think he's saying this just for publicity? Because bearing in mind he is bringing out a new book, which he's trying to sell. Or do you think he's saying this because he genuinely has suffered with mental health? Or do you think it's a selling point?
See, it's one of these things, as a celebrity, a lot of their life, they try to keep it as closed in as they can. And especially if he's trying to sell a book, you do get them type of people who will use, you know, things like that to gain publicity, because like that, it made headlines.
Yeah.
But for us, for people who don't know them personally, I don't think we can judge on the fact if they are going through it or not. We just have to kind of believe what they're saying, whether you don't or not. It's one of the things you have to try to believe it, because whatever they've done it for, they've done it for a reason.
Yeah.
And we can't be the judge of that because we don't know the personal reason for that.
Okay. So do you think then they have a right to speak about it if then we don't know the personal, like, because the thing is with mental health, there's no evidence that you have it. You either feel it or you don't. You can't go, this is why you have mental health.
Yeah.
What things do you think, I don't know how much you know about Tyson Fury, but what things in his life do you think led up to that mental health? Because he did very much talk about when he won his heavyweight championships, he kind of felt defeated because that was it. That was his only goal, and he achieved it, and then that was that, and he's about 30 now. So do you think that that was a contributing factor to it, like obviously he said in the interview?
I think, I don't know much about Tyson Fury, but I did know he did live in a caravan, if I'm right, and his upbringing was quite rough. And obviously when times are hard, obviously stresses come about, and I personally think that the mental health problems might have come through there, his upbringing, more than his successes, because yeah, some people are frightened with the publicity, like he might have been when he got the belts, but at the end of the day, he knew what he was doing. He wanted to get that belt, and he done it for that reason, not for, I think, to be affected by the publicity of it.
Yeah.
I think it was more from his upbringing where the mental health issues came about.
So do you guys think it's a little bit shady that he's releasing a book at the time that he's talking about all of this? Do you think do you think he's using that as a selling point? That's what I'm asking. Or do you think he's actually going through it?
It does look suspicious, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because he didn't talk about it before, and usually
And
it's
now
the thing.
suddenly
Yeah.
it's a very big thing, and it's all very coincidental that these things are coming out, and it's another person to add to a long list of
Yeah.
people who are now
Do you
coming
think
out
he's
declaring this.
like obviously has agency, has managers? Do you think that they've said to him that he'd be a
Yeah.
good face for mental health because he's such a tough guy? It pushes this narrative even more that he's got mental health and that everybody
Yeah.
suffers with it. Do you think that they've used that to push this narrative of
Yeah,
that?
I personally feel so. As you said, you've not heard about it, and people with mental health, especially for the people that want to help others,
Yeah.
they're very forthcoming about it. So hearing it for the first time, and there's a book release coming, it's like, oh, it's more of a relatable source. Like, oh, I can relate to him, so I'm going to go buy his book.
Yeah.
Whereas if he had it, I personally feel it should have been something that was from the get-go. This is how I feel. When go from there, I think it is linked to media, advertising, promotion, that sort of stuff.
Okay. And I just want to ask you very, very quickly, because we are going to wrap up. Do you think he's a bit of a hypocrite? Because at his press conferences, he often insults the opponent quite a lot and things like that, which could very much delve, into what they're feeling or whatever they're going through. Do you think he is a little bit of a hypocrite for doing that?
I think that we should separate the business and marketing version of him
Yeah.
from his personal life, because obviously when things like this do happen at press conferences and they're exchanging nasty words with each other, it's all business, it's all marketing.
It's all
They
marketing,
both
yeah.
know that. After fights, you always see them have a handshake and laugh about it. It's all that. But obviously, he's talking about his own personal struggles. So obviously, behind this persona, and I don't really have a say.
Just quickly as well, do you guys, the same question, do you think he's a bit of a hypocrite because he says all this nasty stuff? Or do you think it's just marketing? Do you think he's just trying to sell a fight?
Well, I think whatever he's doing, it is hypocritical because, you can't feed into an industry and a system that he's part of that is about beating each other's brains in
Yeah.
and, insulting people left, right and centre, and then at the same time go, oh, listen to us in how much it affects me. One or the other, mate, choose one. And,
Yeah.
He's fed that system. He's gained an awful lot of money from it. So, and now was he trying to play both?
Yeah. It is a very interesting debate, but I think that's all we have time for now. So thank you so much for tuning into Generation Gap. Thank you to the panellists. Thank you to my amazing audience, and we will see you again soon. Goodbye.